Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Chichester series, 67 parishes around the city of Chichester in West Sussex. There's some belters down here, folks, so let's go and check them out. Hello folks, welcome to a brand new district and a brand new county. For the very first time I've come to West Sussex and I'm in the district of Chichester. Now, for the first two episodes in this part of the world, I'll be doing two walks in one. Basically, two parishes here are split by one road, and I'm going to walk around the first one for half of the way and then walk around the second one before finishing the first one at the very end. It's two separate episodes though, and this first one arguably I think is the more interesting of the two. Welcome to a place and a parish called Boxgrove. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Welcome to West Sussex, everyone. You find me today in the parish of Boxgrove, located at the far eastern end of the district of Chichester. Boxgrove is 3.5 miles away from the city and located just south of the A285, which follows the line of the Roman road Stane Street. The parish includes several small hamlets, including Strettington and Crockerhill, as well as one which many non-locals may well pronounce wrongly. We'll get to that in due course. Boxgrove is loaded with landmarks, a lot of which are historically important. You can't get any more important than Boxgrove Priory, which is a major local attraction. It's a ruined 12th century shell now, but the Priory church is still very much active because it's now used as the parish church. On this route we'll also encounter the Countess of Derby's Almshouses and a street named after an Olympic gold medallist. Amenities wise, the village has a shop, a village hall, a big playing field and a school. There's no pub in the main village, but there is a pub in the parish. You'll find that in one of those outlying hamlets. And speaking of that one, it can also offer you a vineyard and an historic windmill. The whole thing is underlined to the south by the route of the A27, which slices through this part of West Sussex as it makes its way to Eastbourne. So what are we waiting for? There's loads to see. Let's go and see it all. We begin our journey around Boxgrove by driving through the hamlet of Strettington. Now, far be it from me to put you off from the start, but I'm afraid Strettington was the least interesting of the settlements within the parish, for me at least. It's just a collection of cottages really that line one road, laid out in a north to south fashion. There's a couple of holiday homes within them. Strettington includes the small Temple Bar Business Park too, which was created from a series of farm buildings. Now, it used to be the case that you could drive through Strettington onto New Road at the northern end, but these days only cyclists can go the full distance. For cars, it's a dead end. All of the settlements in this parish contain cottages that are made from flint. Strettington is no exception. They're known as Duchess cottages and they have a strong connection to the Goodwood estate, which lies just to the north. A total of 8 buildings in this hamlet alone are listed structures. As well as Strettington, Boxgrove Parish also includes this village, and don't be fooled by the spelling of this one. Although written as Halnaker, the locals refer to this as Halnaker, pronounced almost in the same way as the Jewish festival. Believe it or not, it was recorded in medieval times as half naked. It stands on Stane Street, a Roman road which runs to the north of Boxgrove village. It's got a few interesting landmarks, including a pub called the Anglesey Arms. However, there are two main reasons why people love coming to Halnaker. To show you one of them, I got out of the car at the village's northeastern end. This is the Tinwood estate, which features an award-winning vineyard. For the princely sum of £21, you can be taken around the site on a 1.5-hour tour. On it, you learn the story of the Tinwood estate, discover how vines are grown in the flinty chalky soil in this part of West Sussex, and they even do wine tasting sessions too. Now, as popular as an attraction as the vineyards will be here in Halnaker, there's also something else which people come here for, and this is what it is. Behind me you can see a sign that says Windmill Trail. That's because Halnaker has a windmill and it's up a hill. Now, I'm not planning to walk up to the windmill in this episode, and therefore I won't see the windmill for myself, but you will, because I have managed to get hold of some drone footage from somebody else, and that's going to show off Halnaker Windmill in all its glory. Halnaker Windmill is a tower mill, and it stands on Halnaker Hill high above the village. There's no machinery in its brick tower, but even so, this is still well worth the climb. Halnaker Mill was first mentioned in 1540 as belonging to the manor of Halnaker. It was built for the Duke of Richmond as the feudal mill of the Goodwood estate. The mill that stands today is thought to date from the 1740s, and it's definitely known to have been standing in 1780. It was working until it was struck by lightning in 1905, an event which damaged the sails and the wind shaft. In 1934, it was restored as a memorial to the wife of Sir William Byrd, and then restored again in 2004. It was originally hand-wound and later fitted with a fantail. The mill has a poetic connection thanks to Franco-English writer Hilaire Belloc. In the poem simply called Halnaker Mill, the mill's collapse is used as a metaphor for the decay of the prevailing moral and social system. And there's a board telling you about the windmill and the windmill trail in the car park where I've positioned my car for this big long walk around both Boxgrove and the other one to the south. Here we are. Here is the board in question. Halnaker Hill and the windmill trail, gateway to the South Downs National Park. There's the windmill right there, and here we have Boxgrove on this little map. We are here in this car park. We're in the Village Hall car park actually, which is also a public car park, which is handy for me. You can see how far away the windmill is. Look, I'm there, and here's Halnaker, and all the way up this hill is the windmill, and Halnaker House is there, Halnaker Park is here. There's plenty to explore. I haven't got time to explore all of that, but I certainly have got time to walk around Boxgrove, and that's what I'm about to do now. So we're going to head down past the village hall over there and then into the village, and then we'll reach the road I was talking about earlier, which will be the boundary between this and the next one to the south. I'll break off at that point and start recording the next episode, and then I'll come back towards the priory and the church later. It's going to be an interesting walk. Let's get on with it. Our main walk begins at the village hall off the street, Boxgrove's main road. The village hall is functionally just like any other anywhere else in the country. It's ideal for the likes of parties and meetings and the like. It can seat up to 140 people. It's flanked by the village playing fields and it has a large car park. This is handy for people wanting to access Halnaker Windmill, as parking in Halnaker itself is a little difficult, as I found out trying to show you the vineyard. Mind you, you can always catch a bus out here. Boxgrove is served by the number 55, which connects it to the city of Chichester. The service terminates in Tangmere. Next, we have a massive building, and this took me ages to find any information about. These are almshouses. They were founded in 1741 by the Countess of Derby, who was the daughter and heiress of Sir William Morley of Halnaker House. In the centre is an inscription recording their founding with a cartouche over it. Well, make no mistake about it, of these two, Boxgrove is the one that's got the more landmarks. Now later on, as we get back to the car, we'll be heading towards Boxgrove Priory, and there's a sign here which directs you to it. As you can see there, Boxgrove Priory is down this little lane here. Well, that's where the route will finish. I'll come out there and back up towards the village hall. That's for later. There's plenty more between here and there. We continue down the street, and next to pass is the village's 19th century primary school. This is a cute little building, although the same can be said for many of the buildings along this road. Don't be surprised too to come across more than a few thatched properties either. Here's a good example. West Sussex is loaded with them. With some attractions, as we've already established, Boxgrove is a good place for the tourists. There's a couple of B&Bs along this road as well, Nightingale Cottage and the Brewfords. There's a close-knit community here too, it seems. On the corner of Crouch Cross Lane is a plant share table, which I thought was quite neat. Then, after a roundabout, you'll come to the village shop. Boxgrove Village Stores is the hub of the community and offers produce from local suppliers. It's not just a shop, it's also a post office and a cafe too. The team here are often spotted in the kitchen preparing their famous sausage rolls and quiches. Okay, so the greater part of this village is laid out along this one main road. However, I am going to take you through a housing estate off to the right next, which will take us down towards the road which runs between this and the next one to the south. So if you imagine yourself in my position here, this is my current view with this very nice line of trees. I'm heading down the road a little bit further, and then I'm going to turn right down there into a housing estate, and like I say, that'll take us towards the road. This is Prior's Acre, whose name is of course a reference to Boxgrove Priory. It's not the only street on this estate though with an historical connection. Off Prior's Acre is Billy Fisk Close. This is named after American William Fisk, who was an Olympic bobsledder. He won gold at the 1928 and 1932 Winter Olympics. During World War II he joined the RAF and was a fighter pilot in the Battle of Britain. He was killed in action in 1940 and he's buried right here in Boxgrove. Between his Olympic career and his military service, Fisk was instrumental in the early development of the Aspen ski resort. Now we've made our way through that estate, we're at the A27, which separates Boxgrove from the adjoining parish to the south. It's a major road which we'll be seeing plenty of times on the south coast. In fact, it follows the south coast of Hampshire and West Sussex and terminates at Pevensey in East Sussex. We can cross this stretch by using a footbridge, crossing the parish boundary in the process. Now, as far as my route goes, it's about to change from Boxgrove into Tangmere, and that episode you'll see next week. As far as this episode goes though, you just got to imagine I've come down off the bridge and gone back into the village. It'll actually be about an hour or so later. Okay, so I've just walked around Tangmere and now I'm back into Boxgrove. You'll see the Tangmere episode next week, and boy is it going to be a good one. Let's finish off Boxgrove though. So we've filmed sort of the half of it, and now we're going to film the other half. We're going to head back up to that green that we saw earlier and head towards the church and Boxgrove Priory before coming out at the village hall and finishing the walk just there. Now we're walking back along the street. I like these white houses opposite the green for some reason. A right turn just after these takes us down Church Lane, a narrow road with some more pretty houses, and again, some of them are thatched. Boxgrove's church is dedicated to St Mary and St Blaise. It originated as the church of Boxgrove Priory, the ruins of which stand behind it. As such, this church is mostly 13th century, minus the original nave which is in a ruinous state. Billy Fisk, who we mentioned earlier, is buried within the churchyard. And here's a fun fact. In 1622, several Boxgrove parishioners were prosecuted for playing cricket in this churchyard. There were three reasons. One was that it contravened a local bylaw, another was concern over breaking the church's windows, and the third was that a little girl had allegedly had her brains beaten out with a cricket bat. What can I say? I don't make England's history, I just report it. Now obviously part of the church is in ruins, but if it's ruined buildings you're after, all you have to do is look next door. There is Boxgrove Priory, and we're going to have a walk into those ruins now and explore these too. The ruins that stand before us here are those of the guest house of Boxgrove Priory. Boxgrove was founded by Robert de Gea early in the 12th century. Although the exact date is sketchy, it's believed to be around 1123 during the reign of Henry II. Robert de Gea was the Lord of Halnaker, a name which would commute to what we know now as Halnaker. He was given that title by gift of the king. The priory was founded initially for 3 monks and was a dependent of Lessay Abbey in Normandy. A Saxon church had existed on this site before the Norman conquest. In about 1126 the number of monks living at Boxgrove increased from the original 3 to 6. By 1187 there were 15. Records show a 19th monk was added in about 1230 by William de Keynsham, the then canon of Chichester. The priory was dissolved in 1536, after which the priory church became the current parish church. These ruins are of course Grade 1 listed. And there we are folks, once you come out of the priory down that footpath I showed you earlier, you're then into the car park here at the village hall, which you should recognise from earlier. There we go, looks very similar to how I did earlier, to quite frankly. There's not many more cars in here. There's only one car that's parked next to mine actually, so yeah, there we are. That has been the parish of Boxgrove, and of course Tangmere as well, which you'll see next week. The whole walk took me about 2.5 hours, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable with some fantastic landmarks. Now, just before I move on to the next one here in Chichester in West Sussex, I've got one more thing that I want to do whilst here in Boxgrove, which I haven't yet done because I forgot, as always, to take them out of the car. My TVI cards, for people out there who are not familiar with me, never seen me before, to mark that I've been to a place, I leave a card, a little business card on the parish notice board, and there's one here at the village hall over there, and my cards are currently in my hire car, which is here. I'll walk across there and I will put a card on the notice board, and that, my friends, will be Boxgrove completed. And it's always good to have a look and see what's going on in the community when you read these things. Here we go, here's something that's affecting the local area at the moment. Stop the Salt Barn Highways depot on the A285. Large depot proposed on Boxgrove farmland. Issues of noise, pollution and light, traffic impacts, industrialisation of a rural area. Get involved. Stop National Highways plan to damage our countryside. And here we are. I'm going to add my card to the board. Boxgrove is in the books. Before we head off to the next one, there's one final part to Boxgrove Parish for which I hopped back into the car to explore. We're heading up the A27, eastbound, towards a tiny place called Crockerhill. It's located at the very edge of the parish boundary, but also at the very edge of the district boundary too. It's not much more than just a collection of houses really, but there is a pub here called the Winterton Arms. Mind you, having said that, there's no pints being pulled at it at the moment, because as you'll see shortly, it's currently boarded up. You'll also note lots of buses and coaches here too. That's down to a local business, a coach repair company called A&S, who have more than 75 years experience in maintaining and repairing commercial vehicles. And that's that, folks. That's been Boxgrove. I'll see you in 7 days' time for round 2 in Chichester. Hopefully you've enjoyed this first foray into West Sussex. Bye for now. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.